for you today. It's the former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, St. Louis Rams, and Kansas City Chiefs. He won a Super Bowl back in 2000 at the Georgia Dome with the St. Louis Rams and Kurt Warner, who was the MVP that day. And I'm really excited to be talking with Coach Dick Vermeil, as he's one of the most popular figures in Philadelphia, as they had a movie, as Vince Papale played in The Invincible, and Mark Wahlberg appeared in that picture, and it grossed millions of dollars. And Greg Kinnear in that movie played Coach Dick Vermeil, who started his coaching career as the head coach for UCLA. And Coach Vermeil, thanks for taking the time today.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
Now, Coach Vermeil, you started in 1976 with the Philadelphia Eagles, and due to past trades by the Eagles, you did not have a first-round draft pick until 1978. How difficult was it not to have a first-rounder?
Well, when you take a job, you know what the situation is. So I knew we didn't have a first-round pick until 1970. Let it bother me. What we did was concentrate on making sure we did a good job drafting the players that may be around in the later rounds, like the Wilbert Montgomerys, the Charlie Johnsons, the Carl Harrisons, that all ended up being Pro Bowl caliber players. And if they had first and second round picks out those first few years, we may not have worked as hard on those other kids. But anyway, we didn't let it bother us. We just moved on because we knew what it was when we came here.
Now, during your tenure as the head coach, you led the Eagles to their first playoff game in 18 seasons back in 1978, and you were named NFL's Coach of the Year in 1980 and made it to the Super Bowl 34 against the Oakland Raiders. How would you sum up your Philadelphia experience?
I think it was a positive experience in every way. The only negative was my own lack of control of my efforts and those kind of things. I allowed a passion to become an obsession. I just couldn't turn it off. That's why I left the game for a while. I didn't plan on staying out 14 years when I left, but I went into broadcasting and enjoyed it, and I was around football, so I never came back until 1997. But overall, it was a very, very fine experience, and obviously we still live in the area, so we love it here.
Now, you led to the Eagles to that Super Bowl 15 at the
I can hardly hear you. Can you speak up, please?
Yes, Coach Vermeil, you led the Eagles to that Super Bowl at the Louisiana Superdome against the Oakland Raiders. The MVP was Jim Plunkett at the time. What was the pivotal moment in that game against the Raiders?
Well, I think the broken play, which we had him trapped in the backfield, then he threw the broken play and it went the distance. That was a critical one play, big play for the length.
How would you sum up your team's performance that day, as the final was 27-10? We're going to have to take a first commercial break, as we're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. We're back after this. And we're back alive at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. We had some cell phone issues, but they are resolved. And back talking about the Super Bowl 15 at the Louisiana Superdome against the Oakland Raiders. Coach Vermeil, how would you sum up your team's performance that day?
Well, it was a disaster. We turned the ball over 3 times, and they didn't, so we were -3 in turnovers, which is sudden death, really. And it's almost impossible to win a ball game playing like that. So, we didn't do a good enough job. Turn right here. And, it just was one of those days. It's not like baseball or not like basketball in the NBA where you get the series of best of 7. When you get to the championship, it's the best of 1, and they played better than we did, so we got beat. We are a better team. We were a better team than the way we played that day. It just didn't go our way.
What did you think of the performance by Jim Plunkett that day?
Well, I thought he played awfully well. It didn't surprise me. He'd been playing awfully well all year, I was his very first quarterback coach in college. So I know the guy very, very well. And he played extremely well. I expected him to play well. But the fact that we didn't play well on offense really hurt us in turning the ball over. And we were -2 of our 3 best receivers. The only one receiver we had was Harold Carmichael. Our second and third receivers were out, did not play in the game, and so we weren't with our best people either, and that hurt us.
Back in 1981, even though you lost, how was the fan reaction when you got back to Philadelphia?
Repeat that, please.
What was the fan reaction when you got back to Philadelphia after the loss to the Oakland Raiders? They had to embrace you, even though you did suffer the loss. It was a big accomplishment to advance to the Super Bowl.
I think overall the attitude of the fans was they were appreciative of the fact that we got there. They were disappointed, just like the rest of us, that we didn't play well enough to win. But I think overall they appreciated the season, were excited about the future, and moved on.
Now, in 1982, you retired but returned to coaching with the St. Louis Rams. Why did you feel it was time to get back involved?
Well, I didn't want to end up in the same place I was when I left, and I was not really sure I could do a good job of controlling my overall process in coaching, and I didn't want to fall back in that same hole I was in when I left. So I just took my time, and eventually I turned down jobs all through those years, and finally I said, well, if I turn down this one, I'll never get invited again or asked again. So I didn't turn it down. I took it, and here I am. I went back.
Now, Coach Vermeil, you led the Rams to their first ever Super Bowl victory in Super Bowl 34 with a 23-16 win over the Tennessee Titans on January the 30th, 2000 at the Georgia Dome. Take us back to the final drive as Titans quarterback Steve McNair was trying to lead his Titans to the win, and it seemed your defense was exhausted. What were you telling your players in that pivotal moment?
Well, I knew they were exhausted. I mean, they were tired, and that was a big, physical, strong team, and they'd been pounding on us. They wore us down, and they had the ball most of the second half, and we actually scored too quick in the third quarter, and then didn't eat up much time. Then we scored on a bomb, and that didn't take up much time. And so the defense was on the field, and consequently, at the end of the game, they were tired. So I was very concerned, and I really felt that we had to get ready for an overtime,
Now, the Titans drove to the St. Louis 10-yard line with 6 seconds remaining, but on the final play of the game, Rams linebacker Mike Jones tackled Tennessee wide receiver Kevin Dyson 1 yard short of the goal line to prevent the potential game-tying touchdown. Coach Vermeil, McNair on that final play of the game stayed in the pocket and threw it. Were you relieved that he did not run with it?
Well, yeah, and where I was standing on the 50-yard line looking down there, you couldn't see real well. And I saw him throw it. I saw the guy catch it, but I couldn't see if he scored or not. So I was really confused, and I had to wait to see I had to wait to get the signals from the official to see whether he scored or not. So I was very nervous about everything.
Talk about the final drive with Kurt Warner hooking up with Isaac Bruce.
Pardon?
Talk about Kurt Warner's performance as he was the MVP. He completed 24 out of 45 passes for 414 yards and 2 touchdowns. Talk about that last drive when he hooked up with Isaac Bruce.
Well, they had been playing this very tight man coverage, and I suggested to our offensive coordinator, I said, hey, I'm standing down here and we see this tight coverage, and let's take a shot at him. And he called a play that would put Isaac Bruce 1-on-1 on the corner out there, and Kurt underthrew the ball. I actually kicked back after the ball. And got it, scored, and that was the margin of victory. And, Kurt Warner's a great football player, a great person, and he's capable of making those kind of plays. And he did it, and he did it in his career. So cool. First.
Coach Vermeil, what made Kurt Warner such a special player?
He had great skill. He had an extremely accurate passing arm, and he was extremely poised under pressure. He did not get rattled. He never played like a really experienced player. He played like a veteran. And I think all those things are sort of inbred, and it was all part of his maturity. The process he went through to finally get the opportunity to play provided him with enough experience to play well once he got there.
How did it feel, Coach Vermeil, to hold up the Lombardi Trophy?
Well, it's a humbling feeling when you lift that trophy because you're not the sole guy responsible for it. You're just part of it. But I was excited for the city of St. Louis and the ownership of the team and the players because, with only 9 guys left on that roster that we took over 3 years earlier that was the losingest teams in football. And we ended up winning a world championship. And so it was a great feeling and a great feeling to share with so many wonderful people.
Talk about Steve McNair's performance that day. What made him one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL?
Well, big and strong, and he was mobile. He was like a big fullback playing quarterback. And he could move around. He gave you a lot of problems, and you couldn't just hit him. You really had to knock him down and wrap him up. And we knocked him around, but didn't knock him down often enough.
Now, Coach Vermeil, you retired in 1999 and retired for good with the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2005. Why did you think it was time to end your career, coaching career?
Well, I was going on 70 years old, and I had the enthusiasm and the passion, but I was running out of the energy and the stamina. When as you get older and you get tired, your mind doesn't work as well. And when you coach the National Football League, you live in a constant state of being tired. And so, therefore, I said, hey, it's time to come home.
Coach Vermeil, fans don't get to see all the preparation necessary to get prepared for an NFL game. How many hours and tapes do you have to study to be ready?
Well, it depends on your approach and your process. But it's 18-hour days, and a good percentage of that is preparation at nighttime. And all coaches do it, not just anyone. But some do it more efficiently than others, more quickly than others. But it is a very tedious process.
Coach Vermeil, before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, no. Football's been very good to me. And it's the communities that I've coached in, Philadelphia community, St. Louis community, and Kansas City community have been very good to me, been very good to my wine business, the Vermeil wine business, and a little tougher in the state of Pennsylvania because of state liquor control, but yet it is still supportive. And so, it's a great way to retire. And because you're retired doesn't mean you're not working. But I'm certainly not loafing. I got too many things to do. But anyway, but I enjoy the area. I enjoy Delaware. I have friends down there. favorite restaurant down there is La Casa Pasta out there by the campus. So anyway, it's a great area to live.
Thanks, Coach Vermeil, for taking the time. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you. You take care.
And once again, that's Dick Vermeil, the former head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, and the St. Louis Rams. They won a Super Bowl back in 2000. More to come as we're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. And welcome back. We're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. I'd like to thank once again Dick Vermeil as the interview was live via the telephone as he's going to a downtown engagement in Philadelphia, and they were taking him to that appearance that he was going to make later this evening. And maybe the next time when he's free, maybe he can appear live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville, and that would be awesome to meet Coach Vermeil one-on-one because I admire him. He won a Super Bowl, and I think he's one of the best coaches in Philadelphia history. And I really like to thank him for taking the time. Now, coming up, Jim Weller, Colin Walls, and I will be back for the Spinning Wheels Racing Report. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles and Chip Kelly and some of the selections that he made during the 2013 NFL Draft. We're all out of time. Make sure you join me every Tuesday live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. And you've been listening to the Anthony Joseph Sports Show on CatchItLive.com.